Reaction tonight to the Prime Minister's plan to target the country's largest grocery chains. The federal government is calling on industry to come up with a plan to stabilize food inflation by Thanksgiving or potentially face financial consequences. It's not going over well with the big grocers who say they should not be the only ones coming to the table.
If their plan doesn't provide real relief for the middle class and people working hard to join it, then we will take further action, and we are not ruling anything out, including tax measures.
That warning directed towards the leaders of Metro, Loblaw, Sobeys, Costco, and Walmart. It's a move experts say it may lead to short-term relief, but ultimately leaves out important factors in food pricing.
I think it's kind of a pretty difficult thing for retailers to commit to when the manufacturers themselves have not made the same commitment, because you can imagine if you've agreed to keep your prices constant, but your suppliers are increasing their prices, you may be actually forced to sell product at a loss.
It's something the grocery chains themselves are echoing through the Retail Council of Canada. A statement says in part, in order for any future discussions to be credible, they must include not only food retailers, but also processors, manufacturers, as well as other relevant businesses within the supply chain. They go on to add that any conversation that doesn't include the vendors whose costs make up more than 70% of the price to customers will not provide meaningful outcomes.
Instead of just blaming the other person, I think it's important to recognize that all companies have a role to play, and I think that's what the minister has in mind here.
Sylvain Charlebois, director of the Agri-Food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University, will be in Ottawa next week, joining Minister François-Philippe Champagne for his meeting with the major grocers' CEOs.
The minister's really premier objective is to actually figure out a plan to stabilize food inflation, not food prices, by the way, it's food inflation. So there's nothing wrong with rising prices as long as it's actually manageable for Canadians. And over the last 12 to 18 months, it hasn't been manageable.
Trudeau also proposed changes to the Competition Act, which would also ultimately impact large grocers. Now Champagne acknowledging industry reaction this afternoon, saying this meeting with the CEOs of the big chains is a first step, adding, quote, "We must and will act together to stabilize food prices and improve competition." The meeting is set to take place on Monday morning. In Toronto, Erica Natividad, City News.